Okay, now I'm going to start all over again. Sorry, everybody. Sometimes it pays to hit the button that says start. Okay. Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee, FiOS 1 News Long Island and FiOS 1 News New Jersey. Joe Rayo, FiOS 1 News Hudson Valley, will probably be in momentarily after he just takes care of a little bit of house cleaning here. A little bit early tonight, by about 5 minutes. Usually we start at about 9:15 or so, but got done a little faster with our usual chores. So I figured, why not? Let's get things going. And I see that my colleague Courtney Kane has joined. Good to see you here, Courtney. Stephen Franco's here. James Harris. Tricia Porfidio Cucciaro. Say hi to Robert for me. It's great to have everybody on board tonight. We are, of course, I think at this point, really just want this warm weather to get in here. You're always welcome, Courtney, by all means. We're all looking forward to this warm weather, and the looks like, at least for New Jersey, for the Hudson Valley for Friday, it's a lock. I think for New Jersey, it's a lock for Saturday, and for southern areas of the Hudson Valley, probably at least into early afternoon. Long Island, of course, is in a world all its own this time of year, as is coastal Connecticut, because of the wind. I mean, look what's happening tonight. We've got a pretty gusty southerly wind running at 20 to 25 miles an hour in some places, and temperatures that really struggled today, only into the 50s, while there were spots in New Jersey that made mid to upper 60s. But this is what happens when you're in the beginning of April. And the big question for Long Island, first off, tomorrow, maybe clouds. What?
Hello.
Hello.
We're a little early tonight, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm just saying we got our chores done a little bit earlier than we usually.
I turned around and I said, wow, here he is.
Now, let me ask you,
yes,
judge and jury, what are your feelings about this backdoor cold front, Mr. Mason?
Oh, well.
Isn't it true, Mr.
I thought I'd be Hamilton Burger tonight or whatever. And by the way, I was really upset on Monday.
What did I do?
No, not you.
Oh, what?
I watch the Perry Mason reruns on MeTV, and I follow religiously. They on the episode guide, they give you the number of episodes, and they were up to year 9, episode 21.
Okay.
And I knew that episode 22 was coming up on Monday, which was the only
color
one
episode
that was shot in color.
And it was the last one of the series.
No, it was not the last one.
Okay.
But they skipped right over it. They went from 21 to 23. Why did they do that?
Wow.
That got me very, very upset.
You wonder whether because it was color, maybe it's pulled for some reason?
Well, I remember last year they had a whole month of special Perry Mason episodes. They called it Perry Mason, and they highlighted that color version.
Boy, some marketer got paid a lot of money to come up with that
one. Maybe. You were asking, however, about my opinion about the cold front.
The backdoor front.
And it's been my experience that these cold fronts, especially the ones that come in not necessarily from the north, but come in from the side, are the ones that sometimes move a little quicker or more at a speed that you don't expect to move quite as fast.
I agree with you. They do tend to come in faster, and you wonder. And
here we are. We've been telling people, at least in the Hudson Valley, I've been telling people Friday and Saturday, and now I'm telling people Friday and maybe half of Saturday.
Right. Well, you had a particular problem because of the we'll call it the geography of the Hudson Valley and how it's oriented.
Right. But even from the beginning of the week,
right.
I said, tell me if I'm wrong. On Monday, I said I'm a little concerned because that front is just a little too close. And I was concerned about cloud cover.
Right.
I said, this does not look like an open and shut case for a bright, sunny, warm Saturday.
Right.
I was concerned that there might be too many clouds. And now, not only are we perhaps going to see too many clouds come rolling down from the north and east, but we may see temperatures take a sharp drop sometime during the afternoon hours.
For Long Island, this was always a big dilemma because this time of year, there's probably about a 30-degree angle of the wind that is really about the only way it warms up.
Right.
And you've got a wind right now, for example. The winds tonight on Long Island have picked up. They're running every bit of 15 to 25 miles an hour in spots from the south.
Right.
I think you're going to have this problem tomorrow in some areas. I don't know how much sun we're going to have. This disturbance going through New England. There's a weaker one behind it. We might have clouds tomorrow morning for at least part of the morning.
Right.
But Long Island's kind of tough. Tomorrow, I think, is going to be warmer than Saturday. New Jersey's much easier. I think New Jersey, for most of New Jersey, if not the whole state, certainly tomorrow should be up into the 70s. And Saturday, probably most, if not most of the state, except maybe for the extreme north, should be also up mostly in the 70s.
Up to like Sussex County, the areas that are adjacent, let's say, to Orange County, in the Hudson Valley, I don't see any problem. I'm saying that tomorrow will start kind of cloudy, that low scud, if you will. Mm-hmm. But I do believe now that the sun is so high up in the sky,
it just burns it off.
It's just to burn it right off, and the temperature will soar immediately as soon as that happens. But Saturday could be problematic.
Take care, by the way, of Jonathan Sachs's deeply important question about his Met tickets for Sunday. Reasonable chance, probability of a rainout.
This is going to hurt the players too, because the players are going to be accustomed to playing tomorrow in the balmy temperatures. Now Saturday is going to be interesting. Saturday, that front certainly is going to be through. It's going to be a Saturday night game, and they're having fireworks at Citi Field on Saturday night after the game.
Right.
And I could see the temperatures, people coming, they probably, they say, oh, it's so nice and warm. They come with a light jacket or a sweater, and all of a sudden it drops
that's a major
into 40,
mistake
50,
this time of year.
And it's crazy to have this.
Yeah.
Back in the day when we looked at things in a logical manner, I'm talking about in the 60s, I remember as a Met fan at Shea Stadium, they never, ever had the first night game until the middle of May. You had to wait till mid-May before they turned the lights on, so to speak. All the other games beforehand were in the daytime, and the season didn't begin until the 15th of April?
Right.
Now we had this season begin in the last week of March. So it's crazy. As far as Sunday is concerned, I say sometimes it depends not on the barometer on the wall measuring barometric pressure. Whether they play on Sunday will be dependent upon the barometer in the cash box. If they have, it's absolutely true, Joe. If they have a big crowd, and the Mets are playing fantastic now.
Yes.
And if they have a big advanced crowd of, let's say, 30 or 35,000, or somewhere in that neighborhood, the Met management is going to be hard pressed to say, well, wait a minute, let's call it off, as they should, because it's going to be like 50, 51, 52 degrees, light rain, drizzle. I mean, certainly it's not enough to, I think, cancel the game. But are you going to make the people, like the paying customers, sit out there in the rain or the dribble and the chilly temperatures? No, but now if they're only expecting a small crowd, maybe they'll have mercy and say, all right, let's do away with this. We won't play today. But and you know what they do? You know what all the ball clubs do this. It's a questionable situation as to whether they can call a game or not. They wait and they wait and they wait. This way, people come in and they park their car.
Oh, right. They've paid for parking. They don't get their parking money.
That's right. And do you realize how much parking is now?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It is. I know at Yankee Stadium it's something like $45 just to park your car.
Well, you know why I don't. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I don't go to Yankee games anymore.
I haven't been to Citi Field in a long time, but I don't know what it's up to. I remember a few years ago. This was back in 2000 when I was at the pennant clinching game when the Mets won the pennant against the Cardinals.
Right.
Normally, it was $10 parking at that time. When I came in that night, they were charging $20 because it was a playoff game. They found a reason to double the price. I looked at the person who was in the little booth and I said, "What do you plan to do if you make it into the World Series? Charge $40? I'm sure they're charging $40 now."
All right, so
I'm sorry to go into this rant, George.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay. We got time tonight. So I thought I'd bring up the NAM. This is something that these are the temperature contours for tomorrow. So it might be a little hard to see, but I'm going to just. This is at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
This is Fahrenheit. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So here's 75 in New Jersey.
Why don't you show Kelvin?
Why are you being difficult with me tonight? But you can see the problem for Long Island and coastal Connecticut.
Yes.
The 60-degree line on the NAM anyway, is, you know, almost to the Nassau-Queens line, and it's in the 50s and even the 40s as you go east. But meanwhile, the 70s do punch into the Hudson Valley tomorrow. You got the 65-degree line at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon north of Poughkeepsie. So maybe clouds hang on and cut down some of the sun tomorrow. I don't know. This is a tough, really tough forecast. And then Saturday, we'll move to Saturday here. I'll make it a little smaller. Hold on a second. Bear with me.
Make it smaller, Joe.
Yes, I'm going to make it a little smaller so we can see the date and time. Got to make it a little bit more. Okay, so, and I'll leave us up on the corner here.
All right.
But when we move into Saturday, we'll go to Saturday morning.
See, look at that. Look at the blue coming down.
Right, here's Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. It's pretty warm. Already, you know, above 55 in New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, above 50 on Long Island. But you know, when we go through the day, this is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Temperatures already falling across Long Island. That's for 45-degree isotherm there, touching Montauk here.
Right.
And you swing it around, it looks like it's just north of Poughkeepsie at this point.
And you know, somebody who has no clue about Long Island weather, let's say some guy, some family or whatever, who lives, let's say, in the Bronx or Brooklyn, and they go out east to Montauk.
Oh yeah, you got to bring a jacket. And
they say, what's going on here? I watched TV last night, and the guy on Channel 2 said it was going to be like 75.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
No, it
doesn't work that way. Look at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, Central and South Jersey, Southwest Jersey, in the 70, 75, but look at where the 50-degree line is.
Right.
I mean, it's already down to almost to New York City and White Plains. You got the 40-degree line near Route 84.
Right.
And this is what I'm really having a tough time with, is when we get to Sunday morning. Look where the 32-degree line is in northwest New Jersey, through Putnam County.
Are you concerned
along
about
84?
Precipitation?
No, I'm not actually. I think this is way overdone. At least I hope it is. You know, I would hate to think it would be that cold on Sunday, and then, you know, you bring it down to Sunday evening, and look at this. This is really crazy.
That is.
You know, the 30-degree line in northwest New Jersey down to, you know, Route 84, and the freezing line almost to White Plains, and down to between Route 80 and 78.
Yeah.
And by the way, you know, it does actually, the NAM, and this is what the European did 2 days ago. You know, the NAM, because of that cold air, actually has
freezing.
I guess that's freezing rain and sleet.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think this is just a little bit too much.
It looks like a wintry hodgepodge.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the GFS has a bit more of a reasonable look here to me.
Right.
Where the back door comes through, but this is 2 a.m. Sunday, but Saturday evening looks like the front is right on top of us. So this would at least argue that most of the day Saturday should be warm for most places.
Right.
And we're not struggling with the temperatures falling through the 50s and 40s during the afternoon and evening.
It's cold, dense air, though, Joe, and you know how difficult the models have, both in trying to determine, you know, when we have warm air advection, and sometimes the warm air, you know, pushes in quicker, or the associated weather, clouds and precipitation, and in terms of the cold, you know, air, cold, heavy air coming down. That too, the models sometimes have a difficulty in handling. So it'll make for a rather interesting day on Saturday, no question about that. I don't even remember the year, but I was living in Long Island. I was living in Levittown, and I was talking to a friend of mine. I called a friend of mine up in Stormville, New York, which is in Dutchess County. And where I was, we had muggy, humid conditions. It was like 75 or 80 degrees. Meanwhile, my friend in Stormville, which is 75 miles to the north, said, "Oh well, I kind of wish I had your weather because it's like only 40 here, you know." And that may very well be, you know, something similar to that may be happening here Saturday afternoon.
I want to fish Saturday morning, so better not. That
well,
back
Saturday
door,
morning you should be fine.
I fish right along the South Shore, not far from the Great South Bay.
Yeah.
That south wind, that ocean wind kicks in fast.
Yeah.
This storm, by the way, that's coming east is going to be a fairly intense spring blizzard for parts of Nebraska and South Dakota, and then eventually moving eastward. Also has a fairly narrow but impressive area of snow and ice in northern Michigan and parts of northern Wisconsin back into Minnesota.
But the 1,000-mile warm front again.
Well, yeah, and then the other thing that's going to happen out of this is starting with tomorrow night, we're going to have some developing severe weather in the western Gulf. Saturday night, it moves to the eastern Gulf, the central Gulf, and then Sunday, it moves to the southeast. One of the things, Joe, that concerns me with respect to this backdoor cold front, and I don't know if this is a tip-off or not, but let me see if I saved it. Okay, so this is the Storm Prediction Center's day 4 to 8. Now, it's going to change on you, but that first area that you just saw there for a second, let me just bring this up. It'll come back up in just a second. This yellow area you see there, that is for Sunday. And if you notice, the northern extent of that goes into southeastern Virginia. That tells me that SPC thinks that the warm front is going to be just north of that line. So basically down in the southern Delmarva Peninsula up to about Washington, D.C., Baltimore.
Right.
That's a pretty, that says to me that they think the backdoor cold front is going to make it pretty far to the south.
Right.
And that it may move in here. In order to do that, it's going to have to move in here quicker, like the colder models show.
Right. Right.
And that could be an argument. That could certainly be an argument to the idea that Saturday could be in trouble in some places in terms of the warm weather.
And it could also spell Sunday night into early Monday that really nasty weather. As I use again that analogy, like a crowbar trying to pry the cold air out, we could be close to what is called the triple point.
Right.
A second storm may actually form on that triple point. And if that happens, I think we're going to be pretty darn close to that, and that could just suddenly bring a tremendous enhancement of showery, heavy.
You can see it right there.
Yeah.
This is the GFS's view, and exactly that. Now, I'm thinking this could be a couple of inch rain producer, area wide. That seems fair, correct?
Yeah. What is it? Monday morning, on the start of your week, the beginning of your rush hour, And up in the Hudson Valley, of course, everybody who lives up in the Hudson Valley of New York knows that any particular roadway that has a body of water attached to it ultimately floods in a situation like this. So the Hutchinson River Parkway, the Sprain Brook Parkway, the Bronx River Parkway, the Sawmill River Park. I mean, all of these places. I tell people, Joe, and this is the honest-to-goodness truth now, and being in this area for over 20 years, people say, boy, it must really be tough when you have, a snowstorm or, a real bad winter type situation. And I tell them, yeah, it is tough, but it's worse in the spring and summer. They say, what do you mean worse in the spring and summer? I said, we get our heavy downpours or drownpours like we might be looking at on Monday morning. You can't go from point A to point B. I mean, all of these roadways, these thoroughfares flood out. They spent an exorbitant amount of money trying to, I think up in on the Sawmill Parkway, where the Sawmill meets up with the Taconic.
Right.
They actually they got the contractors actually raised the roadway up, I think 5 or 10 inches, something like that, in order to try to preclude flooding. Did it work? No, it didn't. Yeah. It's horrible.
I want to give the Yankees equal time here because there's a rain delay going on in Boston right now, apparently. And last time I saw the Yankees... Let me make sure I got the latest radar.
The Yankees hadn't had a hit yet through like 5 innings or whatever.
Oh.
And they're losing 6-0, at least the last time I looked.
Hang on.
See, that's another example. If this were the Boston Red Sox against the Tampa Bay Rays, you think they'd be playing now? I don't think they'd be playing now.
No.
This is the Yankees, one of the biggest series of the year, even though it's the beginning of the year.
That rain area, that radar, that last frame of that radar is from 8:38, so it's already 50 minutes old. I can't seem to get it to freshen up, but the back edge is moving along, so it might be out
fairly quickly
in the next half hour or so, or 45 minutes. But I'm going to try one more time and see if I can refresh this. I thought I probably...
Billy Hickey says after Memorial Day you can't sit comfortably at a night game. I don't understand that comment. I mean, by the time you get to Memorial Day and into the summertime, I mean, night games, it's great to be at a night game, but, you know, go to a night game in April when it's like last night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all through that game, that's all that they were talking about, aside from the fight, was the fact that it was like in the 30s. And you see those players playing there with hoods. They look like the pro wrestlers wearing the masks, almost.
Yeah, I can't freshen that radar up. So the last frame is from 50 minutes ago, but it was halfway across the state. So you got to figure it's not too far. The western edge is not too far from Boston. Here we go.
Joseph
Nurek,
plus the food and drink. Yeah. This could cost, you know, going to a baseball game now, a family of four, it's like investing in a vacation.
I did read a piece, though, about, was it Peter DeAngelis, the owner of the Baltimore Orioles?
Yeah.
At Camden Yards. They changed their pricing policy now that if you, you buy an adult ticket in the grandstand, you get two, and if you bring two kids under the age of 10, you get those 2 tickets for free.
Oh, lovely.
You know, as a way of making it family, and they draw crowds there because they were talking about the fact that attendance at baseball games as a whole has been dropping year over year.
Yeah.
And because basically, it was a game that, hey, I used to go on my paper route money with $4. I mean, I know it was a different time, but with $4 you get 2 grandstand seats, a hot dog, subway fare, and you still came home with change in your pocket.
My grandfather once took me to a Yankee game. We sat in the bleachers. It was 75 cents.
Yeah, bleachers were 75 cents. Yeah. I think, what are bleacher tickets now? $20?
I don't know what they
Who knows? I don't even, I haven't gone in years.
And and before the women's lib came along, they actually had remember Ladies' Day?
Yes, there was Ladies' Day,
Yeah.
and they don't do that anymore, do they?
No, they don't. They haven't done that in decades.
So, yeah,
they may make a comeback considering the pricing of the tickets.
Well, now they have to equal opportunity. We'll make you both pay the full price. Okay. Let's see. Any chance, Ryan Ford? Any chance the cold front comes through for the weekend, produces severe?
I've mentioned that the last couple of nights.
I just think the marine air behind it is just it make the atmosphere too stable.
I remember one case. This was back in 1975, and the reason why I remember it is that there was a total eclipse of the moon that night, and a bunch of us, the local astronomy club, we went to the top of the Empire State Building to observe that. That day was a Saturday. It was Memorial Day weekend, and it was like 95 degrees in New York City.
Right.
And the moon came up through a thick layer of haze, and it was and there was no wind whatsoever, and there was a backdoor front, and it was slowly working its way down. That thing came through at like 10:30, just before the eclipse began. The skies clouded over, tremendous winds, the temperature dropped, and off on the horizon toward Queens and Brooklyn, we kept seeing, it looked like little spokes of electricity. Those were heavy thunderstorms that were occurring.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't think that would be the case this go around. Of course, it's not going to be 96 degrees on Saturday.
I got to think it's too early for that.
Yeah.
All right, you know what? Let's call it a night. We started early, we ended early. There's not too much to talk about tonight other than the temperatures for Saturday and this
and
front and baseball. So we'll be on top of the hour. I'm on Fios One News New Jersey and Fios One News Long Island.
And Fios One News Lower Hudson Valley for yours truly. And we come back tomorrow. Maybe we'll have a better handle as to exactly where the line of chill will be. Brian
Fitzgerald and I did a split screen show this morning, so be sure to tune into Brian and to Jeff Banson for the morning commute.
And when do they usually do that?
While you're still fast asleep.
Well, I don't wake up until the crack of noon.
Well, right, the crack of noon.
9, not noon.
No, for some reason, I woke up this morning about 7:30. I think Brian usually tries to do his around 8 o'clock. I guess when it depends on when his window of opportunity opens. But I happened to catch it this morning and yesterday, so we did the split screen thing, which was a lot of fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun. The thing is,
this is going to have to get you to turn your iPhone on.
I do turn my iPhone on. I had my physical this morning, and while I was waiting for the doctor to come in, I'm sitting in the chair and I'm saying to myself, what can I do? And I pulled my iPhone out, which I just got, recently, and I started looking at the radar and a few weather maps on my iPhone.
Good.
I said, hey, you know something? This is interesting. This is great.
All right. Well, look, get your Facebook, get the Facebook app going on there, so that if you see me on if you happen to see me on during the day and you want to join me, all you got to do is make a comment.
Yeah.
And by the way, we can't do it here because we stream differently, but we can tell you folks at home, if you comment and you happen to be friends on my Facebook personal page with me, or if you're friends with Joe, I will get a notification saying, "Would you like to be invited?" And you might, and who knows? You may be invited to join a live stream.
That would be
which
fun.
would be kind of fun.
That would be fun. Yeah.
And Addison Green and Brittany Borer will be on Dayside tomorrow too. So just don't forget to check in on Dayside,
Right.
and then we'll be back tomorrow night. So everybody have a great evening and enjoy the warm weather, assuming we all get some of it. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.